Alright, this is another video tutorial where I'll be programming in Java. I'm currently using NetBeans. And in this video, what I want to do, like my idea here would be to ask the user for 3 different items and their prices. And they can enter a shirt, pants, whatever. So enter 3 different items with their prices. I'm going to add them together. I'm going to calculate the tax on it. So I'm going to do 18% HST. And then I'm going to display the output. And in 2 things I'm going to do that I'm going to do a little different than some of my other videos. I'm going to use the scanner class this time instead of the JOption pane. So I'm going to show you the scanner class. And I'm also going to show you how I round to 2 decimal points. There's a bunch of different ways of doing it, but I'm going to show you how I do it. So let's get started. Go to File, New Project, and Java Application. And I'm going to call this thing Store Receipt. Okay, now the first thing I'm going to do, just get rid of these default comments. They come up like this, just to clean up the code a bit. And same with this. Now the idea here, again, is I want the user to enter 3 items, give me the names of the items, and 3 different prices. So let's make up some variables for that. So let's go string, and I'll call it item 1, item 2, and item 3. I have 3 different items. They're going to have prices, so let's create those as double variables. So let's go item 1 price, item 2 price, item 3 price. I will also need a subtotal. I'm also going to need, let's just include the taxes right in the final total. So let's just call it final total, like that. And all these are going to be doubles because they're going to have decimals in them. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually create this thing called a scanner object. Now, the scanner object looks like this. It's going to say scanner, the capital S, and then you're going to give it some sort of a variable name. So I'm going to call mine input, and I'm going to say equals new scanner, and then in brackets, I need to put some sort of input for my scanner. And what I'm going to use is, it's called the system.in, just like that. Now, it might not like it. If you look at the error, it says cannot find symbol. In NetBeans, it's very easy to fix this. All you have to do is right-click it. So on a Mac, you hold Control-click, or just right-click on a Windows machine, and click Fix Imports. And we want this thing. We want the Java Utility Scanner is what we want. That'll add this line of code here. You could just type that in if you wanted, if you memorized it or whatever. But this will do it for you if you fix the imports. Now, I'm just going to put a comment here, so create scanner object. Now what the scanner object will do is it's sort of like a listener. It sort of listens to the system in. So what that means is it's going to listen to my keyboard for input. So I'll show you how this works. So let's do the first thing. Let's just ask for an item and then we'll just print it out, just as an example. So let's go system out print. Let's use print, not println, and I'll show you why. Please enter the name of the first item. And I'm going to put a colon and a space. Now, because I did not print ln, what will happen is the cursor is sort of going to be right here. It's not going to have an invisible enter at the end. And then watch what I can do. I can go item 1 equals, and I can go input dot. If you give it a second, you'll actually see everything in here. These are all of the different parameters, all the different functions. Yeah, all the different functions, or methods, I should say, not parameters. All the different methods that belong to this input object, which is a scanner. So if you look in here, you can see certain things, like next, for example. What this does is it returns a string. It'll find and return the next complete token from the scanner, which basically means it gives me the next sentence. You can also do things like next line. You can do next int. So you can get an integer directly out of there. You should also be able to get next double, which we're going to use. We can get the double right from the keyboard, and we don't have to do any conversion, which is kind of nice. So let's go, let's see, do we want next or next line? Advanced scanner past the current line. Returns the input. I don't think we want that one. I think we just want next. We're going to use this one. Okay. So item 1 is going to be input.next. So what that does is it'll display this on my screen. It's going to sit right here. It's going to wait for the user, and the user is going to actually type something. They're going to type like shirt or something, and it'll show up right here. Or it might be underneath, but I think it'll be right here. And then what will happen is whatever I type at the keyboard, when I hit enter, it'll be stored into item 1. So let's just test it out. And I'll also print it out just as a test. The item you chose is, and then I'm going to print item 1. Let's see if that works. So I'll run it. Okay, I'm going to click here. Let's say Xbox. The item you chose is Xbox. So it's kind of nice, actually. You can type right into the console down here, right into the output, and it'll work really, really well. So that's all you have to do is just put input.next. Okay, so let's go ahead and ask for the 3 items, the same idea. And I'm just going to get rid of this for now because I'll do a nicer print at the end. So I can basically just copy and paste this. So I'm going to do it for 3 items. So please enter the name of the second item. And this will be item 2. And the name of the third item. And this will be item 3. Oops, item 3. Now I need to get the prices. So the prices, let's go like this. System out and print. What is the price of, let's change the wording of this. The price of, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually attach in the item 1 name. I want it to look like this. So the idea here is it'll say the price of, and if I put Xbox here, right? The price of Xbox is, and then I'm going to type in the amount right here. That's the idea here. And to get my amount, I would go item 1 price equals input dot, and again, just take a look at what your options are. The one I want is next double. What this does is it returns a double. It sends me a double right here. And that will match what I have here. It's a double variable, so that'll give me my price for that item. Let's go ahead and do that 2 more times. I'm going to copy and paste this. And I'm just going to fix these so it's item 2, item 2, and item 3, item 3. Okay. Okay, so this is item 3 here. And, okay, let's go ahead and print out what it looks like right now. I want to sort of make like a receipt here. So system.out println. Again, you want to do like testing multiple times as you're going. So I want to print all this out, make sure it actually worked properly, and then I'll do all my mathematics after that. So system println, and we're going to print out item 1. And I'm going to say equals, I'm going to put a $sign there, and plus item 1 price. Like that. So it should say Xbox equals $sign, whatever I type in. If I type in Xbox. Let's duplicate that line 2 more times for item 2, item 3. So again, all I'm doing is I'm taking the variable name for item 1. I'm attaching in this little sentence here that says a space equals $sign. It's just a formatting thing just to make it look nicer. And then its price will be right beside it. Oops, item 3 is what I want. Let's go ahead and run this first. It should ask for my 3 items, my 3 prices, and then print them out nicely. I haven't done tax or rounding or anything like that yet. So let's make sure this actually works. Okay, so I've got an Xbox first. Second item, let's go with a PS4. Third item, Nintendo Switch. Oh, interesting. Okay. I think the problem is because I put a space here. Didn't like that. Curious. Let me run it again. Let's go A, B, C. Yeah, see, this is working no problem if I do this. But if I have a space there, it didn't like that. Okay, this, remember when I said I wasn't totally sure on this guy here? Dot next. What this does is it defines and returns the next complete token, which is basically the next full word. So when I typed in the Nintendo Switch, it grabbed Nintendo, and then the word Switch, it was trying to put it as its price, and that's why it was failing. Let me try putting next line instead for these. Oh, I need a semicolon. Let's see if that works any better for us in this situation. Next is good for a single word, but if you need multiple words, I think this is a better option. Let's try it. You know, I've been doing Java a long time, and even I make mistakes with stuff like this. So let's go let's try again, Xbox. Let's do the exact same scenario that crashed last time. PS4, Nintendo Switch. Let's see what happens this time. Okay, perfect. So the price of the item for the Xbox, let's say the Xbox is, I don't know, $399. Our PlayStation $450, I have no idea. Nintendo Switch, $379. And there we go. So the Xbox is $399, PS4 is $450, and Nintendo Switch is $379. Awesome. That's exactly one. So this is why you want to run it as you're going, because I mean I just found an error right there, right? So use next line if you want a complete line. The next is fine if you need to get a single word. So that's what's the difference between these two is. Okay, so we've got our numbers. There are doubles already, so we can start actually adding them up and doing some mathematics with this. So let's go calculate the totals and taxes. Okay, so we have a variable called subtotal. Let's start with that one. So subtotal is going to equal item 1 price plus item 2 price plus item 3 price, like that. And then we can actually, once we have these added up, we can get our final total. The final total is going to equal the subtotal times, so in Canada, in Ontario, we're using HST, which is 13%. So we're going to go 1.13. That'll add 13% onto this. And we're going to go ahead and print this out. System out println. And I'll say subtotal equals, and then I'm going to put a dollar sign. So print out our subtotal like that. And then total, we're going to add in our final total. What some people do when they're making a program like this, they might write right here, instead of writing total, they might put final total exactly like this. Remember, when you're doing user input, or user output, I should say, this orange stuff here, this is literally what the user is seeing. So you want this to be user friendly. You don't want it to be like programmer speak. Like this is a variable name, right? On an actual receipt, if you were to ever get a receipt from a store, it wouldn't say final total like that. It would just say total. That's what it would look like. So be careful. Try not to put variable names in here if you're making a nice program and you want good user output. Let's run it and let's see what we get here. We'll do our same items again. So Xbox, PS4, Nintendo Switch, and we'll try. I don't remember exactly what I had. Doesn't really matter. $399, $450, $379. I think that was the right prices. Okay. Here's the issue which I was very much expecting to happen. When I added them up, I got 1228, which I believe is the correct number. I'd be surprised if it's not because I added them up here. But when I got the taxes, once I multiplied by 1.13, it ended up with this weird kind of rounding issue. And this is pretty common in a lot of coding languages. And it's because a lot of these variables are just, frankly, just imprecise. They're not perfect. So when you start multiplying things sometimes don't work out very nicely. So well, especially when you're working with money, you need to round this, right? You want it to say 64 cents. So here's how I round it. So I use a function called math.round. And what math.round will do is it'll round it to a whole number. So the idea here is, I'll do it as a comment just to show you exactly how it works. So let's imagine our number here is 1387.6399. That's exactly what we got here, right? And if I want to round this, the idea here is I would take that and times it by 100. If I times it by 100, my number becomes this. 63.99, like that. Okay? If I then round it at this stage right now, what'll happen is I will get 13.8764. It'll round to a whole number. Now at this stage, I would then divide by 100 again, and I would get 1387.64. That's the logic of it. So the idea is you want to multiply it by 100 first. That'll shift the decimal over 2 spots, round it, and then redivide it back by 100 to get your original number. That's mathematically, that's what's happening. So now how to do that with code. Here's how I do it. I'm going to write final total equals, and I'm going to go math.round. And if you see a math.round, it's going to return the closest long, which is like an integer. Okay? So it's the math.round of final total times 100.0, and then outside the brackets divide by 100.0. So if you look at this line and think about BEDMAS, the first thing that happens is I take the total, multiply it by 100, then it will round it, and then it will divide it by 100, all in one line. Okay? So that's mathematically what's happening. This is my example here. I'm going to remove that comment now. You can keep it on yours though if you want, but that's the logic of what's happening here. Let's see if it works out. So I'm going to try the same numbers again: 379, 399, 450, and let's see if our final total is now rounded. Okay, so we had a Xbox, PS4, Nintendo Switch. Okay, it was $399, $450, and $379. Beautiful. So it rounded it to 2 decimal points, which is really, really nice. That's exactly what we want. So this line of code will always work for money. If you want 2 decimal points, use this line. The only thing you need to change is these variable names. So if you want, if you're rounding taxes, for example, you put tax and tax, right? Or whatever it might be. The subtotal, I don't really need to worry about rounding that one because it's just straightforward adding these 3 together. It's not going to get extra decimals there, but when I'm doing multiplication, sometimes things will happen like that. So that's the end of this video. Like I said, I want to demonstrate a few things. I want to demonstrate how to use the scanner class and how to do some rounding at the end. And again, the scanner class, the nice thing about NetBeans here is if you don't know how to do something, like say for example, I need to get an integer, right? My program, I grabbed the next double. Say I needed an integer, right? Just type in input dot and then look at the functions that come up. So the one I'll be looking for is next int. And that one right there will give me the next integer value from the keyboard. Or if I need the next long, or I need the next Boolean, for example. You can use code completion to help you find things out, even if you don't know how to do it. And even myself, I messed this up here. I put input.next. Just look up the function, see what there is, and try the next line instead. See if it works out. So yeah, so don't be afraid to try new stuff. Again, this is a simple example, getting user input with the scanner and doing a little bit of rounding and making a nice user output for the user.